Nothing beats a GB3 holiday, and right now we're at the Hungaroring for rounds 10, 11 and 12 of the 2025 season. Just 20 kilometres from the heart of Hungary's capital, Budapest, split by the iconic Danube River. This technical 4.38 kilometre circuit has challenged drivers since way back in 1986 with 14 tight corners and minimal overtaking zones. It's narrow, it's twisty and it's unforgiving. Today, under the Hungarian sun, strategy, precision and nerves of steel will decide who conquers this legendary track. At the moment, it's 29 degrees Celsius out there. It's towards the end of the day. It was hotter a little bit earlier on, and I have to say, Piers Pryor, I'm John Jackson. It's going to be a driver's dream out there because the track's going to be nice and warm to get those tyres heated up quickly.
They'll get them heated up quickly, but I think tyres are going to be something the drivers are thinking about because they're going to go off fairly quickly in the race as well. Track temperature well over 40 degrees at the moment, and we've seen that these Pirelli tyres around here this weekend have been fairly quick at the start of runs, but they go off fairly quickly. And having had 2 qualifying sessions on those 2 new sets of tyres, most drivers will be on a used set of tyres in this race, so keeping them in a good shape until the end of the race, of the 3 races, is going to be important to a good weekend.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the assembly areas soon. I did have a little quick peek, and Hugo Schwarzer looks like he's got a couple of new tyres on the left-hand side. Otherwise, as you say, most drivers using slightly older tyres there. And of course, we're going to take a look and speak to some of the drivers as we build up to this first race of 3 this weekend. 1 today, 2 tomorrow. There's a huge weekend of sport across all kinds of different sport, and hopefully we can factor the GB3 Championship into your weekend of sport. Let's just remind ourselves then, after 3 different meetings so far, what happened last time out at Spa-Francorchamps.
Highlights then from the circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in the GB3 Championship, as from the front row and pole position it was Alex Dinovic leading down into the first corner. A poor start from Hugo Schwarzer would leave him under attack from Pat Huizenrode down to the first corner. The number 5 XL Motorsports car was trying to make the move, and trying to make the move even up the hill. They'd go side by side between Eau Rouge and Radion, as Noah Lyle was going to make it 3 wide going on the Kemmel Straight, and to try and make it 4 wide as well coming onto the left hand side, it was once again Will McIntyre in the Elite Motorsports car. 2 wheels onto the grass as they'd power their way up the hill into Les Combes. It was Noah Lyle into second position with Hugo Schwarzer down now into third, Will McIntyre up to fourth, and Pat Huizenrode dropped down to fifth. A retirement for Dippy Nandon though, as they would complete about halfway around the first lap, which would cause the safety car to come out. Alex Dinovic would regain control of the race. Hugo Schwarzer would instantly attack on the restart to get back up into second position. Wampu Shui, whilst trying to go side by side through Les Combes, would straight line it, and he'd rejoin the circuit, dropping down to the back end of the top 10. And an unfortunate retirement for Jack Sherwood, involved in an incident with Nikita Johnson, would drop right the way down the field, a pair of them retiring from the race. The restart would come in with just a lap or so left to go, and Freddie Slater was making the move. He was moving up the order. Meanwhile, there was the battle for the podium. It was the 33 of Hugo Schwarzer up into second position. Despite that moment, he was defending from Konato Lee in his hill speed. They go into the final corner, basically side by side. Meanwhile, Alex Dinovic would come across the line to take victory at the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps, with Hugo Schwarzer just about being able to keep Konato Lee at bay. Everyone else would come across in a very tight line for fourth position, led by Noah Lyle. On to race 2 of the weekend, and it was Konato Lee from pole position this time. However, a really poor start would allow both Rodins, Gianmarco Prado and Alex Dinovic, to go around either side, with Dinovic taking over the race lead. Keanu Alazari, the BWT car, would get down the inside going into the first corner and would try and fight for the podium by the time they got to the top of the hill at Les Combes. Konato Lee, though, bouncing back straight away up into third position, with Will McIntyre straight lining the Les Combes chicane. Yamakoshi also got through into second. There was side by side between Hugo Schwarzer and Pat Huizenrode through Eau Rouge and Radion for the second time this weekend. This time, though, a little bit further down than where they were in the previous race. This for just 9th position. Meanwhile, Konato Lee got back through into the race leaders. Yamakoshi was trying to keep Johnson at bay. By the time they got through the Les Combes chicane, it was Nikita Johnson up into 4th position, now aiming for a podium. They'd all wrestle their way through the likes of Piers, this middle section into Lefania, as they'd all wrestle their way around the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. Nikita Johnson had already got past Keanu Alazari and now was getting past Alex Dinovic and up into second position. However, Konato Lee was starting to check away into the distance. Nikita Johnson with very little time to try and close down on the race leader. Side by side behind would see Yamakoshi getting through into 4th position, getting past Keanu Alazari as out through the final turn. They would begin the final lap. Kanato lead with a comfortable margin over those behind, not really having to worry about the charge around the 7 kilometre circuit with any pressure behind. The focus purely forward and a hunt for victory. Meanwhile, Yamakoshi was keeping 4th position, all for himself, ahead of Al-Azhari. However, that would switch round on that lap at some point, with Al-Azhari getting through into 4th position once more. Freddie Slater working his way back up the order with a move into 8th position on the final lap. And out through the final turn, it was Kanato Lee to take victory for the first time in his GB3 career, with Nikita Johnson coming across the line in 2nd position for his 2nd podium of the season, and back-to-back podiums for Alex Dinovic, getting 3rd position across the line. The final race of the weekend then would see the reverse grid race and what will become one of the most chaotic races in GB3's history. It was Hugo Schwarzer starting from pole position in what was wet weather, but the slick tyres were arguably faster at this point. Kai Darianani taking over the race lead into the first corner, and a few drivers at the rear end of the field starting on the slicks, the likes of Freddie Slater, who was staying very careful at the first corner. At the end of the first lap, Hugo Schwarzer would be into the pit lane to come off of the wet tyres to go onto the slick, beginning a whole string of chaos in the pit lane as plenty of drivers were working their way in. Staying out on the circuit though on the wet tyres, there was Keanu Al-Azhari into the race lead ahead of Kai Darianani, all being chased down by Noah Lyle. A bit of an issue in the pit lane as Flynn Jacks would hit the tyre as they were trying to depart the pit lane, all going on to those slick tyres. Bianca Bustamante would be out of the race, unfortunately going through the campus corner. The marshal straight over to rescue that car without any requirement of the intervention of safety car. Meanwhile, the switch for the race lead, starting from the rear end of the field, moving up on the slick tyres. It was Freddie Slater getting past Al-Azhari and into the race lead, now starting to check away into the distance. Meanwhile, Reza Zawuthan was also trying to find his way through, also on those slick tyres, dragging through Will McIntyre as well in the background, trying to make that move down the inside of the final corner. With a couple of positions picked off though, it was Reza Zawuthan taking over 2nd position with not very long left to go in the race. Keanu Al-Azhari dropping back into 3rd. An absolutely chaotic race, but a brilliant drive from last on the grid all the way up to 1st. It was Freddie Slater coming through the final corner to make it a hill speed 1-2 as Kanato Lee had got through into 2nd position, and Reza Zawuthan would come across the line in 3rd.
Of course, some great racing back at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. A fantastic drive from Freddie Slater there after bad qualifying for him to make up all those places and win that race. That's just showing what kind of talent we've got in Freddie Slater.
Yeah, of course, unfortunately, Freddie not with us this weekend, but he's a driver that's been very impressive in the championship so far. It shows that choosing the right tyres in difficult conditions is important. Not that the drivers are going to have to worry about that right now, but also just driving a race like that is, yeah, it's going to be going down in the GB3 history books, that's for certain.
Yeah, we come into this weekend then, Alex Dinovic for Rodin Motorsport with an 8-point lead in the championship, ahead of Patrick Hoitzenroeder in his 2nd season in the championship, and then Deegan Fairclough is 3rd for High Tech TGR. And we've seen lots of different drivers doing incredibly well. We're going to hear from one of the other drivers that gets a lot of attention in the paddock. We've just seen her signing some autographs, Abby Pulling, in just a little while. But Reza Seaworth, and he's been a driver that we've seen progress from, starting 10th in the championship, starting 11th in this race, and the potential to maybe make up a few places and have a good race, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential in Reza, but also the Argenti with Prema team that I don't think we've quite seen it yet. Maybe, who knows, this weekend is a chance they really get it to click, because we know Argenti in other championships have been strong. Prema, of course, a dominant force in junior single-seater motorsport, and Reza, a rising star of the future, very strong in F4 categories last year, got a lot of experience, but it's a big step up this year for him. He's looking to try and establish himself at this level of motorsport and push on, and well, I'll talk more about that in a moment, I suppose.
Yeah, of course. Well, that 3rd place finish that we just saw in the highlights for Reza was his best finish so far this season, and earlier on Piers went and caught up with him.
Reza, you're coming off the back of a strong season in 2024 with in F4, moving up the step into GB3. How have you found the step up so far this season?
Enjoying driving the high downforce cars, makes the racing a bit more interesting, and the tows really strong as we saw at Spa. Yeah, enjoy it so far. It's been tough. We've had lots of things to think about. It's a lot more setup that goes into these cars, and it's very easy to be slightly out of the window as we're finding out, but yeah, enjoying it so far.
That's great, and we're here at a new circuit, I imagine, to you in race conditions here at Hungaroring. That must be pretty cool to drive around another Formula One circuit. Yeah,
definitely the hottest conditions, even compared to the UAE. It's a lot hotter, and nice to be on another European circuit. So that's why we picked GB3, get to go on some amazing tracks, and yeah.
I think you've equipped yourself very well this season already in GB3. I think your strongest weekend so far has been Zandvoort. Of course, you've had some difficulties as well, new team, new to the championship as well. Just talk us through the season so far.
Yeah, tough one at Silverstone. Just struggled overall as a team with the car. But made a good step going into Zandvoort. Had some good results there, and obviously that lap record lap, which good boost for everyone here. Then went off into Spa and struggled with just set up again there. I think it's been a bit of a characteristic of this car. It's very easy to be really quick or just out of that back window, as it is so tight in qualifying. I mean, top 10s right up together. Then going into this round, again, another track, different conditions and things, and we're just adjusting to that. Made some steps with the car, found some bits, move backwards, move forward, and just got to make some changes going into the races.
Well, after qualifying, we're chatting now. You're right in the thick of the action for the races, but you'll also be well positioned for that race 3 as well. What's your outlook for potentially that third race of the weekend?
Just find the setup as we're going over through the first 2 races, and then win the last race. That's what we can do.
Currently sitting in 10th in the championship, actually, as well, if I'm not mistaken. At the end of this weekend, we'll be at the halfway stage of the season. Going into the second half of the year, what's your outlook? What you're going to be concentrating on? What you're thinking about?
Just working with the team, trying to get this setup nailed. It's been so important in these cars, and I think work on that, work as a team, because we're all new people, all coming from different places, different teams, and just bring everyone together and do what we can do.
Well, you've got a smile on your face, so you must be at least enjoying driving around this circuit. Reza, thanks so much for catching up with us, and we'll see how the second part of the season plays out for you.
Thank you very much.
Reza Seaworthen there, speaking with our very own Piers Pryor, who's alongside me now, giving some insight into this track, because it feels like to me this track is a tricky one in terms of overtaking. We know that. It's the first corner, that kind of long sweeping corner that gets a bit tighter into the second corner. Is that probably the best place for these drivers to be looking to overtake? Are we going to see a lot of action in that corner?
It is a hard circuit to overtake, especially in that middle section. It's quite tight and one corner leads to the next. Not many big braking zones in that section. However, turn 1 and turn 2 we've seen action at in all single seater categories and GB3. But let's not forget, Louis Sharp won from 5th on the grid here last year in race 2. So there is opportunities. You just got to go out there and make it happen.
Excellent stuff. Well, look, we have Keanu Al-Azhari on pole position. He's going to be a car that you're not going to miss, because his car is bright pink in the kind of Alpine BWT livery, which is just behind us right now. Let's hear from him now then, before we talk more about what he's going to need to do from pole position. Piers caught up with him after qualifying.
Keanu, pole position for race number 1. That must be a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, it's a very relieving feeling, but we knew we had the speed coming into this weekend. The team have done a great job to turn around our season, and feeling really confident from now on.
It feels like you really hit the ground running this weekend, quick in all the practice sessions as well. What's different this weekend?
If I would tell you, I think everyone would be quicker, so I'll keep that to myself. But no, I'm really happy with everything we found, and the car's been feeling absolutely incredible. And no, the team's been working very hard, so I'm very, very happy to bring back the first pole to them.
You're clearly enjoying driving the high-tech TGR car around here at Hungaroring as well.
Oh, it is lovely. This circuit is my first time here, but I think it's already one of my favorites.
And the pace was repeated in race 2 as well. You're going to be going from second place with a last-ditch attempt over the line to get second.
Yeah, it was a bit of a scrappy Q2. I couldn't get my lap in early on, so I did 4 or 5 push laps until I got my quickest. A little bit of traffic, but qualifying is qualifying, and it was a satisfying last lap to get up to P2.
First and second are your starting positions in race 1 and race 2. What would a good weekend look like from here out?
I think 2 wins are in the bag. Just a good getaway and a solid race, and that should be it.
Look forward to seeing how that plays out. Keanu Al-Azhari, pole position in race 1. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's Keanu Al-Azhari, the Emirati driver with high-tech TGR. We can see in shot right now. As I say, you're not going to miss this car. It's bright pink and has that BWT logo on the side there. He's got into the first corner off the grid. He's got 2 road-ins behind him, Gianmarco Pradel and also the championship leader, Alex Ninovic. What's he going to need to do in that first corner? Because obviously getting a good start is very important in whatever kind of race we're looking at. However, I mean, if all the action is going to be down in turn 1 and turn 2, it's going to be even more important here in Hungary.
It's important that he gets away from the line well, because the easiest way he can make his life difficult is by losing the lead into turn 1. But once he's got down towards turn 1, difficult difficult to defend into turn 2 if you put yourself in a bad position. So get away from the line well, hold the lead into turn 1, and then hopefully just get to the apex of turn 2 first. And then as long as he doesn't make a mistake, he should be all right.
Excellent stuff. Well, Piers, you're going to run up to the commentary box. In the meantime, though, let's check out this track in a little bit more detail.
The GB3 Championship returns to Budapest and to the Hungaroring for the second time. A very tricky test of a circuit, very narrow, very single file, very difficult to overtake. Two great overtaking opportunities. Open the lap though, turn 1, turn 2, then we drop down the hill, back up though, out of turn 3 before we head into turn 4. Iconic, tricky and very narrow. Through turn 5, a long right hander before we get to the 6 and 7 chicane, and then we're into the S's section. 8 to the left, 9 to the right, 10 to the left again to go completely flat out, and then just a little bit of a lift going through turn 11. Dropping down the hill once again into turn 12 before we get to the double hairpin sequence at the end of the lap at 13 and 14. The DRS detection point on the exit of the penultimate corner. There's 2 DRS zones around here, but just the single detection point within a second going into the final corner, and you'll get DRS down the start-finish straight and the second straight coming out of turn 1. And those are the 2 primary overtaking opportunities around this 14-turn Hungaroring circuit.
Let's ride on board with our pole sitter for race 1, Keanu Alazari, for the high-tech TGR team here at the 4.3 kilometre Hungaroring circuit. DRS open, as you can see in the top left-hand side of screen. This is the first of 2 DRS zones down towards turn number 1. This will be the main overtaking opportunity in the races. The second DRS zone is down towards turn number 2. Again, the top left-hand corner, you can see that open. This turn 2 is an overtaking opportunity in the race, both on the inside and the outside. It's very steeply downhill through here, and we continue to head downhill flat out through turn number 3. This is now the lowest point on the circuit as we head uphill towards the very fast, very committed turn number 4. A short apex just down 1 gear through here. Watch out for track limits on the exit, and immediately left to open up the long radius turn number 5. The new gravel trap on the left can easily drag you off the track, but Keanu manages that well into the very technical middle sector now for 6 the right-hander, 7 the left-hander. Important to get on those curves, but not too much so that it unsettles the car. Turn number 8 is the left, and then turn 9 is the right-hander. Very important to be precise with both the steering and the throttle through that section. Completely flat out through turn 10, and then the right-hander of 11 is just a breathe on the throttle, fully committed through there and well measured. Down towards the final real overtaking opportunity on the circuit, turn 12, a 90-degree right-hander, again, a gravel trap on the exit, just luring you off the circuit. Drops a wheel there, does Keanu, into turn number 13. 2 long radius hairpins finish the lap. That was 13. Next up, turn 14. That line across the circuit there is the DRS detection zone. And that rounds out our lap 14 turns of this Hungaroring circuit for the drivers to deal with.
An amazing track here at the Hungaroring, really iconic in its 39th year now since it started in 1986. And it might look a little bit different on our coverage today. That's because this place, after last year's F1 race, was completely flattened. And I mean, like, we've seen pictures, other than what you can make out as being a bit of the old start-finish straight, this whole thing was flattened. They put in a whole new grandstand across the opposite way from the garages. So you've got 40 new garages. Expanded, bigger, so it's great for all the racing we have here. 10,000 seats now undercover in the main stand. That main stand was a little bit rickety last year, as we remember. We got a bridge has been dismantled over the start-finish straight that Piers had to run across last year to get to the commentary box. He doesn't need to do that anymore because there's 2 tunnels under the track. I mean, your commentary box is right there, but don't tell everyone that. He has to, now you can run under the track if you want to. And already I've seen the fans having a great time. And this has all been done, I guess, for fan experience, really, because it was a little bit outdated.
Great to see so much investment going into the circuit. Of course, partly for Formula 1, but we get to make use of it here. And the pit building's been massively upgraded. We've got proper facilities for everything. And it's great to see that circuits we're going to in GB3 are getting upgraded, and this will be the drivers of the future, potentially even in Formula 1. So I'll get to experience these circuits, both the facilities and on track, and then hopefully aspirations of glory in the future for them.
Yeah, great stuff there. We've been in the cool-down room, which you will see the F1 drivers in a little bit later this summer. So if anything's going to inspire you as a GB3 driver to make it to F1, it's going to be seeing the kind of things that the F1 drivers experience. And I think they're going to have a fantastic weekend here. Also, more toilets than you can shake a stick at here, which is obviously great for fan experience. Let's move on. Abby Pulling is going to start 8th on the grid today. She's been getting a lot of attention recently. Obviously, the reigning F1 Academy champion. There's a lot of young females I've seen getting autographs photographs and chatting to Abby. She's inspired so many people. Starting 8th on the grid, a good place for her to start because the last few results have not been fantastic for Abby Pulling. Best result was the first race of the season.
Yeah, she started the season very strongly, actually, well inside the top 6 positions, and pace was there or thereabouts. I mean, I spoke to her in a minute, I don't want to give it all away, but she's had a bit of a struggles in the mid-season, you know, a few things with the car that they've sorted out, and also a few things that she's working on as well. But great to see her back sort of well inside the top 10 this weekend.
And she's been documenting it as well on her YouTube channel, pulling back the curtains, and Piers caught up with her earlier to see how she's feeling ahead of 3 races here in Hungary.
Abby, we've made it to sunnier climes here in Hungary, but let's look back at the season so far. I think you started the season really strong.
The season was a really strong debut, to be honest. I'm really happy with how the year started at Silverstone. I think qualifying P4 and 6, and that was with no DRS, so yeah, a bit frustrating, but I think really showed the potential there. But since then, had a few tough rounds. Ever since the contact made in race 3, I've been carrying a bit of a technical issue. So from then onwards, it's been a bit of an upwards hill. But yeah, this weekend it's kind of a reset. Everything's all in order, and yeah, I feel like it's the start of the season again. I can show my potential.
Well, we've still got, you know, a fair amount to go, over half the season remaining. We've seen you had a good pace, but it must be cool to have 2 really good teammates and Rodin all pushing you along as well.
Yeah, we're all pushing each other, and we're all good in one area and then one of us struggles in the other, so we're all pushing each other on the data, and it's, yeah, I mean, the team are so supportive. Rodin Cars as well, being an ambassador for them, I can't thank them. Sorry, I had a fly. I can't thank them enough for all the support, and they really want to see me succeed, and I appreciate that so much. There's so much preparation that goes into it, and you know, and I do some additional on my own back with various other people as well on the mental side and on the simulator as well, and I'm just looking forward to the season ahead now after we've got rid of some of the technical issues.
Yeah, exactly. You've got a lot of support. You've mentioned Rodin already, both the team behind you, but also Rodin Cars, and also that support you got from winning the F1 Academy last year as well.
Yeah, last year was such a dream of a season, and yeah, the support from F1 Academy, Susie, is really strong, and they really, again, another group of people that really believe in me, and I'm so lucky to have all these people that are like, we know you can do it, just go out there and show them what you can do. And you know, I've not, I think, shown my full potential at times this year. Like I said, some things out of my control have happened, but I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season, and I really want to show that, you know, I could just be a fast racing driver. You know, it doesn't matter gender and all that. I just want to be here to race and to show that I can compete at the front. And yeah, with Rodin Motorsport, I firmly believe that we can achieve that.
We look forward to seeing that. And you've been capitalising also on the, you know, the support and attention you've got. Well, starting a new YouTube vlog channel. Tell me the name of it again.
Pulling Back the Curtain. That was me, and like, I've got a little team now that help me on my social media side, and they kind of come up with it, and I was like, that's incredible, that's a really cool name. And yeah, I mean, it's just a nice way to engage the fans, like behind the scenes. I feel like our race weekends are quite hectic, and they don't get to see every little aspect. They just see what we're doing on track, and it's like, no, there's quite a bit going on around the track. So showing a bit of that day-to-day life when I can, and yeah, so much support. Also my merchandise off the back of that, and just the fans are like going mental. Obviously the Netflix thing has just made it so big, and I'm just
living the life.
Yeah, living the life, saying thanks, and I'm just amazed that so many people want to see, you know, what I'm doing here and there.
It's really good that you're showing both the glamorous and not so glamorous sides of motorsport, because it's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. But glad to see you in good spirits here this weekend in Hungary, and we'll look to see what you can really do the second half of this year.
No, thank you very much.
Abby Pulling chatting with Piers prior there. Watch out for her starting 8th in the Rodin Motorsport car with the pink details on there. Very easy to spot her. The sun is still beating down here in Hungary as it approaches 5:10 local time. It's going to be a hot one. It's going to be a thrilling race. It's the first of 3 here in the GB3 Championship at the Hungaroring. So for the first time this weekend, let's go racing.
We head to the Hungaroring for the 4th event of the championship. Rounds 10, 11 and 12 here for the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. And we've been greeted with some wonderful weather, air temperature in the high 20s. Track temperatures will be in the low 40s, so that will be something for the drivers to deal with. Let's have a look at the circuit in a bit more detail. Down towards turn 1 and turn 2, that will be where most of the overtaking opportunities are, around this high average speed, nearly 100 miles an hour average speed at the Hungaroring circuit. The technical middle sector, especially 6, 7, 8 and 9. That's where time can be won and lost. Turn 11 and turn 4, very high speed challenges for these drivers. And then we've got the DRS detection point there into turn 14 that completes the 4.381 kilometre lap time. One DRS detection point into that last corner gives us 2 DRS zones down towards turn 1 and turn 2. And that is 14 corners of the Hungaroring circuit for these drivers to be racing around 3 times this weekend. Yep, cars are just forming up on their formation lap, ready for the first race weekend here. Round number 10 of the championship here at the Hungaroring. Looking forward to what is going to be a hotly contested race. You've heard my voice before already. My name is Piers. I'll be your lead commentator on this. And alongside me, we have former GB3 race winner and winner already this weekend, Tom Leben. Tom, what are you thinking the drivers are going to be thinking about right now heading to the grid?
The main thing they'll be focusing on is tyre temp, really, especially getting temp in the rear tyres for the race start, and getting some temp through the brakes as well through the tyre to get away off the line well. Amazing.
Well, Tom, it's going to be great to have your expert opinions on everything. You can keep us informed of anything you might see throughout this race. It's going to be a hotly contested one. Last year, the winner of the first race was high-tech TGR driver Gerard Shee. And in the second race of the weekend, we saw a brilliant start from the third row of the grid, 5th place from, it was Louis Sharp, our eventual champion. So definitely opportunities to make moves down on that first lap. It's hard to overtake once the race gets underway, but we've seen it done before many, many times. Our cars are all lined up on the grid. You can see the heat haze there, track temperature 44 degrees, air temperature nudging 30 degrees at the moment. Perfect conditions to go racing for the first time this weekend here at the Hungaroring, but the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, and we're away from the line. It looks like it's fairly steady from everyone, getting away from the line well, but already the 21 taking the lead. That is Jean-Marco Pradel. He's taken the lead away from Keanu Alazari, and also going through is Will McIntyre in the 37 car. So it is currently a Rodin from Elite, from Rodin, from that high-tech TGR car in the pink. Everyone cleanly through turn 1 as a few drivers run wide on the exit there. Down towards turn number 2 then. It's a clean runaway for our leader, Pradel, followed by, that is McIntyre still in second place. Trying around the outside is going Keanu Al-Azari. Can't get that done, so into third place is our championship leader, Alex Ninovic. Alex getting a good start there as well. Step further jostling down the back of the field, but everyone just about finding their positions at this stage of the race. A dream start for the driver on second place there of Pradel. Yeah, Pradel's done a great job. He's continuing to push at the front of the field. There's McIntyre pushing on. We can see the 88 of Kai Darianani down in 7th place with JHR Developments. He was having a just defensive manoeuvre as actually looks like Deegan Fairclough lost a position off the start there. He's in 8th place. They're pushing on now through that busy middle sector. Looking at the number 8, that is Hoytsenrode. He's had a very good round abroad. He was strong in Zandvoort. We're now here in Hungary. It's his second time here, of course. He was with us last year. Change of team for him this year with the XL Motorsport team, but a perfect first lap for our driver. Oh, but further off in the background, that's Hugo Schwarzer fighting with Jack Sherwood. Schwarzer going off the road and so close. I think there was a bit of contact front to rear there, but they both managed to keep going into the last corner. That's completing the first lap. Now, the DRS won't be enabled this time. It's after the first full lap of racing, but we will have 2 DRS zones on this circuit. At the moment, gapping the rest of the field by a second already is Pradel front of McIntyre. If he can hold that gap, he won't have to worry about defending it next time by, as we see a defensive move there from the 88 of Darianani. The 10 behind him is Seaworthen, who we heard from before the race. Seaworthen's now got a run. We're going on the outside towards turn number 2. We know that this move can be done. Keeps it around the outside, squeezes Darianani to the inside. So close. There was wheel-to-wheel contact, but a brilliant move around the outside. Reza Seaworthen, excellent move. Tom, I'd like to get your input on that. It's not an easy move to do around the outside of turn 2, is it?
No, it was a really good move there on the outside of turn 2. The track's really dirty offline, so to manage to pull that off around the outside and get the inside for turn 3, that was a pretty good, to be honest.
And it looks like the number 3 now fighting back. That's the 3 of Flusha fighting with Abby Pulling, having to go defensive into the turn 6-7 chicane. It's all right. And managing to just hold on to that position for now. We're looking at the 11 now. That's Noah Lyle. Let's have a look at that again. Tom, just you can see the little touch there. These cars, they're so sensitive. You don't really want to be having contact in a corner like that.
No, definitely not. I think Dariani there is lucky to not get front wing damage. I think he came off lightly there.
Yeah, that's it was trying just to hold on to that position, trying to keep an overlap on the exit, but bold move from Seaworthen. Although it was kicked off initially by Dariani's error out of turn number 1. You saw him run wide and onto this sort of AstroTurf on the exit. There's so much less grip on that part of the circuit, isn't there?
Yeah, it's really slippery out there. Same in the GT3 car this weekend. It's almost like an ice rink out there, and it looked like the floor was hitting as well. So I think his exit was definitely compromised.
Yeah. So back at the front of the field, it looks like that Pradl's actually managed to just break that 1 second barrier. No DRS for McIntyre for Elite Motorsport, and the number 32nd in second place. Our championship leader, Alex Ninovic, is the one who's looking most likely to make a move. You can see the DRS pop open for the likes of Ninovic and Al-Azhari down towards turn 2. Not a particularly long run down towards turn 2, so I think the DRS is going to be more powerful into turn number 1. But just let's talk about the circuit a little bit. 44 degrees track temperature at the moment. Actually, let's talk about that in a moment as we see a double front lockup. Huge lockup due to front wing damage for Hugo Schwarzer. We didn't see how that started. We saw him go off at the end of the lap. Unfortunately, not the way Schwarzer for VRD would have wanted to finish this race. It was his birthday yesterday. 19 he was. Unfortunately, no birthday presents in this race. It looks like we're likely to have a DNF for him in this race. First race of the weekend, but he's still got 2 more to come. So maybe he'll end up going back out and seeing if that car is all good, just to get a feel of the setup in these hot track temperatures. We were talking about that just before Schwarzer went off at turn 1. The circuit this weekend, very hot air conditions, very hot ambient temperature, and the circuit, it really affects how the car drives, doesn't it, Tom?
Yeah, really doesn't help the tyre at all, especially a 15-lap long race. It can be a bit of a struggle towards the end of a stint, definitely. These drivers here will be looking to get some clean air on the front wing and the rear wing to really not damage the tyre as much as they can throughout the stint.
Yeah, and these drivers like the likes of Ninovic and Al-Azhari, who are right behind drivers in front, is that going to be potentially affecting their tyres when they're in the dirty air as well?
Yeah, sitting behind people around here especially, the tyre doesn't get a rest at all, so I think there'll be a disadvantage later on in the race, definitely. Yeah,
so DRS still for Ninovic and Al-Azhari, not able to use that to make a move down towards turn 1 as we keep an eye on Will McIntyre, who actually sets the fastest lap of the race on that last lap, a 39.4, which already beats the best laps we had last year. Of course, a new car for 2025 in the GB3 Championship. A slightly wide exit from turn 2 from McIntyre, pushing hard. We saw that from the fast lap on the last lap, but pushes slightly too hard and get offline. You can easily make a mistake around here.
Yeah, there's not really that much margin for error around here. The exit curves are really aggressive, like we mentioned before. There's new gravel traps this year on exits, like here at turn 5. It's easy to drop a wheel, definitely. Yeah, we saw that actually on the on-board lap from our pole sitter, Keanu Al-Azhari. It wasn't actually his pole lap, it was another lap from that qualifying session. But he dropped a wheel just on the exit into the gravel. It's quite good to have a physical deterrent rather than the track limit sort of debacles that we've had potentially in years gone by. Yeah, I completely agree. Having a gravel trap, there is no margin for error at all. There's no human factor as well in track limits. Yeah. It's the best way to do it, I think. Absolutely. Good to see the circuit being upgraded both in facilities and also on the circuit as well. As we were seeing a new front wing being added. Flint Jacks, the 55 for Elite Motorsport. He's off into the gravel. Looks like he's beached there. We saw the VRD driver, the 33, Hugo Schwarzer, in the pits getting his front wing changed. This car in the pits might actually help the likes of Hugo Schwarzer. If there's a safety car, which is probably going to happen now, he'll be able to join the back of the grid. Oh, wow. That's a big issue there. Tom, that's a fire extinguisher going off there. I wouldn't know why. I think they had a few problems with the fire extinguishers last year around here, maybe with the heat. Yeah. That's what that looked like, definitely. Of course, with air temperatures in the 30s, track temperatures in the mid-40s, it puts a lot more strain on the components of the car. But unfortunate for Flynn Jacks to end his race prematurely. They're doing a dramatic fashion. But I'll run you through the order as it stands now. It is Pradl in first place. Will McIntyre making his way up into second. Ninovic was third, is over the line. Fourth was Al-Azhari, our pole sitter. He'll be disappointed dropping back. He does go from second place
tomorrow in race number 2. That's tomorrow morning. So he'll be able to have another go at potentially reversing that poor start that he had. Hoytsenroder is 5th place, so it's good to see that physically Flynn Jacks is okay. 6th, Noah Lyle. 7th, Deegan Fairclough. 8th, Reza Seaworthen. He's had a good run this race, making up a couple of positions already. Kai Darianani and Abby Pulling were having a fight earlier on. Lucas Fluscher, Wampu Shui, Jack Sherwood, Bianca Bustamante, and then Hugo Schwarzer still going after that front wing change. And then you can see Flynn Jacks is at the bottom of the field, the number 55. He is that car, the right shot, stuck in the gravel. This safety car, it sort of resets the race now, Tom. Opportunities for drivers who are maybe falling off the back of other drivers. Stress for the likes of Jean-Marco Pradel at the front of the field.
Yeah, the drivers definitely want to be able to look after the tyre here under the safety car. They'll probably get a bit of a breather as well. I can imagine it's really hot in the cockpits of these cars. They'll be wanting to get some tyre temp back in the car though, ready for a restart at some point. I'm sure their engineers are over the radio updating them as they go. Yeah,
you've driven a similar GB3 machinery, of course, a new car for 25. I don't think you've driven this actual make of the new GB3 car, but you drove the old one, and it's pretty hard work even last year, and it's going to be more so this year with more tyre grip, more aerodynamic grip as well.
Yeah, it's always hard work, especially around Hungary. There's so many corners, it's so technical, you never really get a break, especially in such a fast car like the current GB3 car.
And it is a fast car. We're already much faster than we were last year. Pole position was a good, I think it was actually over 2 seconds faster than we were last year. So great to see the improvements to the car, but not only in safety and also competitiveness, but also in terms of the actual speed as well, getting these drivers closer and closer to the next step on the single-seater ladder, which is of course FAA Formula 3, and it looks like that we're going to go for another lap of the safety car. I always found, Tom, that actually, I did drive back in the day, but we don't need to dwell on that. That actually sometimes when it was cold and you're working the steering and the brakes hard under the safety car, it could actually be almost more physical than driving the car, but not so much weaving going on this weekend.
No, it's probably due to the temperature. They're weaving less than usual. However, I completely agree. Under safety cars, sometimes there's less airflow hitting you, so it definitely warms up that way. And with these cars with no power steering, it can be very physical at times, definitely. Yeah,
that's something that I think a lot of people that maybe haven't had the chance to get behind the wheel of a single-seater, in anger, don't quite realise how physical it is to drive, both physically in terms of the heat, and when we're 30 degrees. In fact, it is just nudging 30 degrees ambient temperature now, especially on the safety cars like this. You've got the heat of the radiators either side of you and the engine right behind you. Very little airflow in these cockpits. It's just basically the air tumbling around in the space around your chest, and then also putting the physical effort into holding your body in the car, keeping your core stable, keeping your legs from moving side to side with the G-force as well. That's something that people don't often consider as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of time you see when people jump in F1 cars and really high downforce cars, their necks go really quickly. The best way to train it really is just drive the car. It's difficult, but it's really common for when people jump in, especially single seaters, really struggle physically.
Yeah, right. That safety car period is looking to be coming to an end. The lights are out. Our leader, Jean-Marco Pradel, in the 21 black and white car that we're looking at right now, is being followed very, very closely by the experienced Will McIntyre, driver that was strong at points last year. He was quick here last year, and he's looking to get a good restart. It looks like Jean-Marco Pradel's gone fairly early in turn 13 as we head round turn 14. No overtaking until we get to the start-finish line, which is coming up in just a moment's time. Good restart from our leader. Also a good restart from McIntyre. Looks like Pat Hoytsenroder has been left napping a little bit as the gap's opened up to nearly 0.8 of a second, and we've already got defensive moves from Deegan Fairclough. Up the inside, Al-Azhari goes on our championship leader, Alex Ninovich, and a very clinical move up turn 1, and he's managed to get a good exit as well.
Yeah, it was a really good overtake there. I saw coming out of the last corner, it was really close to the car in front. McIntyre, obviously, he got jumped by Prado off the line. He went early, and that was definitely the thing to do.
Yeah, we've got side-by-side fighting further down. That's Seaworthen actually getting another position, I think. No, I think that's actually Darianani looking around the outside of Seaworthen, but not getting that move done. As wide in the background, I think, was also Abby Pulling, but comes back on the circuit without any damage to her race. At the front of the field, Pradel still holds on. Al-Azhari up one position now onto the podium places. He's going to be hoping to use the pace he had both in practice and qualifying to drive up to the back of Will McIntyre. I think arguably Al-Azhari's been the fastest driver this weekend. Hit the ground running as he runs actually a little bit wide through turn number 8 into turn 9. Technical middle sector here, and that's allowed our championship leader once again, Ninovich, to just get onto the back of the driver in front, the pink BWT car of Al-Azari. Very easy to make a mistake in that middle sector.
Yeah, it's really difficult round here in that middle sector, especially a bit like we mentioned earlier with the exit curves being really aggressive. It looks like McIntyre might be able to go at Pradle here in a few laps time if he can stay within DRS and have a bit of a go into turn 1, definitely.
Yeah, so 6/10 it was in the last cut through. I think it's going to look visually to be coming down a little bit, as is the gap between Al-Azari and Ninovic for 3rd and 4th as well. The DRS detection point, a reminder, just before this corner, turn 14, and then it is able to be used by the drivers behind down towards turn number 1, and then again down towards turn number 2. As defensive goes Al-Azari in the pink car that you can see there. That's going to allow a strong exit from Ninovic. Ninovic looking to the outside now, or what will become the outside for turn number 2. We've seen a move already been done this race so far. Can Ninovic get that done? Goes in very, very quickly, but Al-Azari fires a lot of speed into the apex. Great defensive driving. It looks like the DRS is going to be enabled this time by. It wasn't available last time. But Al-Azari just about holds on to that position. It was important he made it to the apex there first.
Yeah, it's really easy to lock a front left there. He did well not locking a front left and not going into the side of Ninovic, definitely. I saw Ninovic did lock up, so that's probably why he didn't get the move done. Yeah,
it's easy with the car. The circuit drops away there and it's off cam, but easy to run wide and potentially run into the driver alongside you. But good awareness from both of those drivers allowed Al-Azari to come out still ahead of Ninovic for our final position. And that fighting's actually brought Pat Hoytsenroder back into this battle in the top 5. It's just running ever so slightly wide. Goes Ninovic on the exit of turn 9. Turn 10 next is completely flat out, the left-hander, and then this is turn 11, a very fast corner. Real challenge for the drivers.
Yeah, it's difficult there. The exit curve is really aggressive. If you see the cars touching on the exit, the drivers do have to be really aware of that.
Yeah, when you say touching, you mean the bottom of the car, the plank actually hits the ground physically, and you can feel that through your body as well, can't you, Tom?
Yeah, it's really aggressive. You have to be aware of it. On a quali lap, you'll probably put up for it for the lap, but over 15, I wouldn't want to drive over it every single time. Definitely not.
And we don't want any plank wear issues that we've seen in the likes of Formula 1 and other single-seater issue in a single-seater series as well. So DRS is now enabled this time by no DRS for Will McIntyre in 2nd place, allowing Al-Azari to close right up down towards turn 1. Al-Azari very good on the brakes there down in towards turn 9. That's allowed him to close the gap. He's pulled away ever so slightly on Ninovic behind as well. Still the lead just being maintained. Pradle doing a great job. The driver that's 2nd in the championship of the 3 Rodins at the moment. Ninovic has had the better run of form this season so far, but he's had a comparable pace, I would say, in qualifying and practices, and then sometimes not just quite getting things right in the race, but starting off this weekend on the absolute best way possible, getting away from the line well, taking the lead and controlling the race at this stage. He's got the pace to pull away from McIntyre. I think potentially McIntyre actually a little bit of the cork in the bottle at this stage. Didn't have the pace, I think, in practice and over the long runs. There's the drivers around in the 2 Rodins that we're looking at and the high-tech TGR car, bright pink car of Al-Azari. Hoytsenroder, again, just maybe not having the pace at this stage of the race, dropping off the back of Ninovic. But it really is a thing. You can have the pace over 1 lap, but being able to string it out over a race is a whole different matter, isn't it?
Yeah, especially around this track, the tyre deg is really difficult. Earlier on today in the race I was competing in, the rear tyre deg was definitely a problem, and that's exactly what it looks like McIntyre is struggling with.
Yeah,
as you see in the slow-mo, he has a snap just as he's turning into that chicane there.
Yeah, really hustling forward. A great visual representation of how hard these drivers are pushing, and that sliding is what increases the temperature in the tyres, isn't it?
Yeah, it really hurts the tyre round here. It's really difficult, a fine line between pushing and trying to go as fast as possible and protecting the tyre for later on in the race.
So our leader, Gianmarco Pradle for Rodin, the number 21, has maintained the gap of over a second, so DRS not a danger for him. However, you saw the DRS flap there opening up for Keanu Al-Azari in the bright pink number 6 car there. He is pushing on to the back of the driver we just saw in the slow-mo, pushing hard. It really is a battle of the drivers against each other, but also a battle with the tyres, and the track temperature makes it so hard to push on without getting the temperature too high that you fall away at the end of the race. This is the main battle we're looking at the moment inside the top 10. It is McIntyre 2nd, Al-Azari 3rd, Ninovic in 4th, McIntyre for Elite Motorsport High-Tech TGR for Al-Azhari, and then Rodin in fourth. Tom, you've driven for Elite Motorsports in GB3, and also you won the race in GT Open today in the GT3s. They're a team that can put a good car together in all conditions, you know that.
Yeah, definitely. I've always been with Elite, and McIntyre has returned this year. I think he's in good form at the moment, and I think the team definitely is as well.
Yeah, they're pushing on. Of course, a team that has a lot of experience in multiple series, not just single-seaters. You race with them in GT3s, but you know they're effectively, to a certain extent, fighting with the, let's say in the quotation mark, big guns of single-seater racing and High-Tech TGR, who have teams in FIA Formula 3 and FIA Formula 2. They were even interested in a bid to get a Formula 1 team. That remains to be seen whether they ever make that jump to Formula 1. Rodin as well, they're a front runner. In fact, were leading the championship in F2 earlier on this season with a former GB3 driver Alex Dunn as well, who raced for High-Tech in this championship a few years ago and took the championship right to the wire. As we see, we might have a potential look for the lead as Al-Azhari makes a dive down towards turn number 1, rear locking, as you can see the rear wing shuddering there, potentially just trying to get in the mirrors of McIntyre in second place.
Yeah, it looked like a potential move. He was still was quite far back in the braking zone there, but McIntyre will definitely be in his mirrors and worried from now on into turn 1 later in the race. That P3 car definitely looks strong on the brakes at turn 1. Yeah,
he's been strong at different times throughout the race, and that I think is going to be his main point of attack in this race. I think with 5 laps still remaining, or 4.5 laps still remaining in this race, as Keanu Al-Azhari did set that fast lap on the last lap, aided by the tow and the DRS from McIntyre in front. I think we're going to see an attempt on second place by Keanu Al-Azhari. Not close enough to do it into the 6-7 chicane. That's not really a place you can overtake in these single-seaters, though.
No, it's definitely difficult after turn 5 with the aero wash. It would be difficult. However, if the driver in front does make a mistake, I'm sure he'll be taking advantage of it. And
let's talk about that aero wash. Of course, when Al-Azhari's right up the rear of the car of McIntyre ahead, he's benefiting in terms of a slipstream, but also makes things harder for him in the car.
Yeah, the driver will just have a lot of understeer, where the front will feel like it's washing throughout the corner. It does make it really difficult around here, but if you can stay within that window a bit like he is here, and he gets a DRS and a good run down the straight, I think he'll have a good opportunity into turn 1.
Hugo Schwarzer for VRD, unfortunately not going to finish this race. They're looking in the cockpit, so potentially an issue owing to that earlier excursion in the race. So he will be back again tomorrow morning, hopefully revitalised afterwards. A disappointment today, the number 33 German driver. He's joining us for a second season. Jean-Marc Prado, fast lap of the race on that last lap, as we see another attempted move down towards turn number 1 for Al-Azhari. Not successful once again. McIntyre is doing a great job of not over-defending here, I think.
Yeah, as long as he gets a good run out of the last corner, I think he'll be okay. But that P3 car definitely looks really strong into turn 1 and in a lot of the braking zones. We see that turn 2 he's getting quite close as well. Yeah, still close into turn 2, although a poor exit out of turn 2 for Al-Azhari is allowing Ninovic in the black and white number 12 Rodin Motorsport car right behind to have a look. And this is the lack of pace comparatively from McIntyre is pushing Al-Azhari onto the back of Ninovic. Is that maybe a tactic that McIntyre might be thinking about? It would definitely be in the back of his mind trying to back him up, but I think at this moment he's just maximising the clean areas and trying to build a gap throughout the middle sector. But yeah, I think it's going to be difficult to hold anyone back, really. Yeah, really hustling through that chicane once again was McIntyre in the blue flashes on the black and yellow of the Elite Motorsport driver. Fastest first sector of the race on this lap from Ninovic. So potentially a poor exit out of turn 2 from Al-Azhari and a good first sector from Ninovic, bringing those two close together. So this three-way fight for second place continues on, as gapping even further at the front of the field is Jean-Marc Prado. His last lap was a good 3/10 faster than these three that we're looking at for the battle for second place. There's not a huge amount of battling further down the field. Hoytson-Roeder, Lyle and Fairclough in 5th, 6th and 7th are fairly close together, but not as close to these front three. And then Seaworthen also on the back of that battle, and then a bit of a gap down to Kai Darianani. Defensive this time has to go McIntyre, feeling like the exit out of the last corner wasn't good enough, but a last-minute move up the inside of turn number 1. That was so close, and then a big slide out the exit. This is going to give Al-Azhari an opportunity to the outside of turn number 2. Defensive into turn 1 went McIntyre. Defensive again, he goes on the inside into turn number 2. Look at Ninovic. Ninovic is now alongside Al-Azhari. This is 3 abreast nearly. Now alongside is Ninovic, but it's still the same order. McIntyre holding off Al-Azhari, Ninovic looking to get involved. That was so close. This is just fantastic racing, really, to see 3 cars like this so close around a circuit like this as well. It's just fantastic, really.
Yeah, we're hearing in our ears that potentially we might not quite get one more lap in at the end of the race. We might go to time, but I'll keep you updated on that as we go. But this is still the battle to watch for now. McIntyre, I think potentially his tyres just going away a little bit, and all wide through the exit of turn 7 goes Al-Azhari. But is that potentially that front end wash that you were talking about from the dirty air?
Yeah, that looked like understeer on the exit there, but McIntyre here obviously going on that AstroTurf on the exit, and another car in the background there. It's definitely people are struggling with their tyres.
Yeah, McIntyre. This must be the point at which the tyres are starting to go off. We're seeing drivers running wide on the exit of the corners as we see a very wide moment from Darian Arney in the back of shot for JHR Developments. He is potentially going to lose out on positions to Flusha and Pulling. We'll keep an eye on that. Whoa, there's another moment. That's Deegan Fairclough, actually, my mistake. Deegan Fairclough managing to get through on Watson Road. That's a big moment on the exit of that corner, wasn't there? That's an example of dropping a wheel into that gravel on the exit of the corners.
Yeah, it definitely makes it difficult round here, especially in the last sector with the exit curves and the gravel that they've put in place this year. But it definitely makes it exciting as well.
Yeah, sorry, I'm sorry.
Really big challenge.
I miscalled that. It wasn't Kai Darian running wide on the exit of turn 11. That was Noah Lyle. So he's dropped down the order behind Fairclough and Seaworthen. Now Fairclough is having to defend from the number 10 of Seaworthen. Seaworthen in that blue and grey Argenti with Premacar. He's right under the rear wing of Fairclough. Has DRS. That's going to bring him alongside on the outside towards turn number 2. So some great racing in the second half of this GB3, partnered by the BRDC race at the Hungaroring. Fairclough managing to hold on for now, but that was an opportunist move from Fairclough after we saw running wide at turn 11. You can see that's an example of making a small mistake and have big consequences.
Yeah, it's really difficult here. I think he managed just to keep the gap through the last corner, and as he has a snap there on entry, really people are struggling with these tyres here. It looks like Ninovic has dropped back a little bit from Al-Zahari. I think that battle has calmed down a little bit.
Yeah, here we are looking at Deegan Fairclough. Deegan Fairclough coming into this round at 3rd in the championship, had a very, very strong run at Zandvoort. Struggled but at both Silverstone and Spa in race 1 and race 2. Did a decent result in race 3 at Spa last time out, 5th place, but he'll be looking to continue with P5s, a potential early season favourite, but a difficult start to the year, not exactly the start he wanted, both with things in and out of his control affecting that. We're looking back at this battle for 2nd place. Still, it is McIntyre from Al-Hazari and Ninovic. Al-Azhari still keeping the pressure on. Ninovic just dropping off the back a little bit, but the front of the field, it's now 2.7 gap between Pradell and McIntyre. This is the final lap of the race. That will be good news for our leader of Pradell. He'll be looking to just coax it home, but we've seen moves down towards turn 1. Are we going to get another one? Not close enough. This time is Keanu Al-Azhari. Right there, though, can he use the DRS down towards turn number 2 to effect a move? This is his last opportunity, or last real opportunity into turn 2. Not quite close enough this time. It really seemed like as the tyres were going off, drivers were starting to make a mistake. That's something you really have to have a feel for, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult round here with the rear tyre temperature being a big problem, but the drivers will probably have a few tools like the brake bias that they can use to help these problems that they'll be challenging with.
Yeah, the tools both in the car, but also the tools in the way they're driving as well. You know, how might you have to drive the car slightly differently as the tyres go off?
Yeah, it's all about caressing the rear tyre, really. You have to be careful on the exits. A heavy right foot is the main thing you have to be aware of.
Yeah, too much power in corners like this. The exit turn number 6 and 7. We saw McIntyre have a couple of slides through there with the excellent slow-mos we've been provided this weekend. But that's just about... He's just been able to hold on to that position for now, although Al-Azhari is actually very close in the back of shot there, going through turns 9 and 10. This is turn 11, a very fast corner, very exhilarating for the drivers. Looks like actually a good middle sector for McIntyre. Will keep him safe in 2nd place. But the man of today has been Gianmarco Prado, the 21 for the Rodin Motorsport team. He's not had the start to the season that potentially he would have won. He's had 2 podiums so far this season. This will be his first win in the GB3 Championship, and it will feel very, very good to do it on a circuit the Formula 1 visits year on year. Gianmarco Prado wins round number 10 of the GB3 Championship in 2025, and 2nd place, a great result for Elite Motorsports. That is Will McIntyre. He'll be very happy with that. Took a win in the reverse grid race the first round of the season, a 2nd place at the reverse grid race last time. Zandvoort hasn't had a podium in race 1 or race 2 this year. He'll be happy with that. And then 3rd place, Al-Azhari. Good result for him, but he'll be disappointed not to have converted that pole position.
Yeah, it was obviously disappointing there, but it was a good race. McIntyre defended really well there. Looked like Ninovic dropped off a little bit at the end there, but overall a really good race, definitely.
Yeah, fascinating first race of the weekend so far. It's been so good to see these brand new GB3 cars go around this circuit. And here is your provisional results. It is Gianmarco Prado who won by nearly, over 3 seconds eventually from Will McIntyre for Elite Motorsport in second place. Giano Alazzari from pole position dropped down to third place. He'll be looking to make amends for that tomorrow, going from second on the grid. Alex Ninovic, your championship leader, another strong result in fourth. Pat Hoytsenroder, fifth. Sixth was Deegan Fairclough. Seventh, Reza Seaworthen, a good result for him, moving up a few places. Eighth, Noah Lyle. Ninth, Kai Darianani. 10th, Lucas Flusha. 11th was Abi Pulling. 12th, Wanpu Shui. 13th, Jacques Sherwood. 14th, Bianca Bustamante. And unfortunately, a DNF for Hugo Schwarzer. And also we saw Flynn Jacques having to pull off at the end of the race. It was fastest lap for our driver who won the race at 1:38.951. Will remains to be seen whether that's the fastest lap of the weekend, or will be the fastest lap of the weekend, because that will give him the Sunoco Fastest Driver of the Weekend award. This is a good moment for the drivers, isn't it? You're getting out the car and letting the win wash over. You've had this feeling before in this championship.
Yeah, it's definitely a good moment, especially Pradel here getting out and seeing his team in front of him. I'm sure he'll be happy to celebrate his first win of the season.
Yep, steering wheel's back on, following procedure. That is something they need to do. And then the moment they all do it for, big fist pump of the air, and rightly so. Gianmarco Pradel made a good start from second on the grid. Got initially past our driver on the right of shot who finished third place. And then this is cool as well. Always good sportsmanship between the drivers on the podium we see in the GB3 Championship.
Yeah, these drivers here have all done really well there. Difficult conditions. I'm sure they're all well dehydrated. Would like some water, definitely. But yeah, really good result and really good race. Yeah, good race. It's hot under the collar, both physically and figuratively in these cars. I mean, track temperature at the end of that race was 44 degrees. Air temperature still in the high 20s, 29.6 degrees is what the is saying at the moment. And this is a cool moment. He's saying, guys, can I go and high five the team? I really want to go and celebrate, but I don't want to get in trouble for not weighing first. Gianmarco Pradel, first win in the championship for him. He's his third podium this season so far. He'll be very, very happy with that. And he'll be looking to push on for the second part of the season. This round at the end of this weekend will mark the midpoint of the season here in the GB3 Championship. We so to Silverstone next up. But before we think about what's happening after this weekend, let's hear from Gianmarco Pradel, our race winner, with John Jackson.
See the photos being taken here. Gianmarco Pradel, big moment for him. First win in the GB3 Championship. He's literally just run away from me to celebrate. I mean, we'll allow that. It's his first win in this championship. A big moment for him. So we'll grab him back. We'll let him celebrate. A lot of people watching back home, I'd imagine. Probably a horrific time. We'll spin round here. Yeah. Hey, congratulations, your first GB3 win. How was it out there for you?
Yeah, I mean, after the first corner, we got it done quick, and then after that, I guess it was just a really, really long race. I wanted the checkered flag to go from that too, so yeah. But apart from that, I think from my side, really, really happy with the step that I made from the last races, and really good that I could show my pace finally today and show my consistency. So yeah.
You said it was a long race. How physical was it out there in this car?
Not too physical. I think the heat got me a bit more than the car. But yeah, feeling my neck a little bit. But yeah, overall just bringing it to the ear. I don't really feel it. The adrenaline's too fast.
When you come here and you win on a Formula One circuit, it's a huge deal, isn't it? And you know you've got 2 more opportunities coming tomorrow. It's the best way to start your weekend. And I mean, you must be feeling already and looking ahead already to tomorrow and feeling pretty positive.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, to be honest, halfway through the race, I was thinking, okay, we've got to calm down. No celebrating too hard tonight. We've still got third. Yeah, we're starting third tomorrow, and then in the reverse grid we'll see where we start. But yeah, overall pretty optimistic with the pace that we had today. I'm sure we can do some more tomorrow.
You made up places today to take the win. I mean, what are you going to do from third tomorrow to make up 2 places and take a win there? Where are you going to attack?
I mean, off the start's pretty. That's the best place at this track. Into turn 1. So yeah, we'll see what we can do there. Obviously, this track. It's pretty dusty at the moment, so got to be careful if I'm doing any overtakes offline, so just got to be wary of that, but apart from that, I'm just going to send it.
Excellent, we look forward to that. Congratulations, your first GB3 win.
Thanks so much.
There we go, Gianmarco Pradel. We're going to move around and speak to Will McIntyre. Made up a couple of places there. Just getting some fluids on. You've got to get the fluids when it's this hot. Another podium for you, a good result. A couple of places made up.
Yeah, it was a good race. I was definitely didn't quite have the pace to keep up with Gianmarco, but we'll take a P2. Best most mountain points we've got in a race so far this season, so we'll take it and we'll just move on.
Yeah, you need that progress. What kind of things have you learned from this race that you're going to take into that next race tomorrow?
Must be quite difficult to overtake, I guess.
It's a notoriously difficult track to overtake at. I mean, turn 1, turn 2, that's your only options really, I guess.
Yeah, it seems like it. I think, with the dirty air from these Formula cars or any Formula car, it makes it pretty impossible to overtake in the middle sector, but yeah.
Should be even hotter tomorrow. Is that going to worry you at all?
A little bit, yeah. I just want to say big thank you to Elite Motorsport, my mum and dad, and Hannah at home.
Excellent stuff. We'll go and celebrate and we'll speak to you tomorrow.
Cool, thank you.
There we go, Will McIntyre with Elite Motorsport. We'll go and speak to Keanu Alazari. If we just don't get in the photo, we're getting it. I don't want to ruin your social media. Don't want to ruin that. Keanu, a podium for you. A little bit disappointing considering where you started, but you were really pushing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too happy with my start there. I lost this race from then on. It was a good recovery to make up a position on the restart. I mean, I think everyone could see that my pace was really strong. In the infield, I was massively quicker than anyone around me. Just, a little bit hard to overtake here, but I must say the DRS worked quite well. I was happy to move up onto the podium, but we have some work to do for tomorrow. Yeah,
it must be reassuring to know that you had that pace. There were fastest laps coming in from you, but also disappointing to know that that one little mistake kind of ruined it for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a woulda, coulda, shoulda in racing, and I take the blame on that. My start wasn't fantastic, and we'll work on that for tomorrow. I think that was the only key missing in that race, and then we could have easily been down the road, to be honest. So, a bit disappointed in myself, but very happy for the team. Pace is coming together, so a lot of work.
2 more opportunities tomorrow.
Exactly.
Congratulations. We'll let you go and get your trophy. Keanu Alazari there with Hi-Tech TGR. I believe they're probably ready for the podium. And Piers Pryor and maybe Tom Leben will talk you through it right now.
So there was our top 3. Great to hear from the drivers. You can see physically how hot and sweaty they were after all the work they did during that race. We will very shortly be bringing you the podium ceremony. But no, great to see. Our winner, of course, was Gianmarco Pradel. He will probably move up in the championship, very close in the middle field of that. He was only 3 points behind Kanato Lee, who isn't with us this weekend, so almost certainly will jump up at least a position or so due to that strong results in that race. He will get 35 points for that race win. That is the point scoring system. Then 29 points for second. That'll be for Will McIntyre. He equals his best result, Will McIntyre, here at the Hungaroring. Last year, he had a 5th in race 1 and a 2nd in race 2. So he'll be looking to potentially even go 1 better tomorrow. I think the start was crucial for Will McIntyre's race in that one. His pace potentially not quite as strong as the both of the Rodin cars who were 1st and 4th in that race, and also Keanu Alazari, but managed to get in position and then hold on. A good show of his experience. Of course, Will McIntyre, second-year driver, moved over to the Elite Motorsport team this year. He's not at the start that he potentially would have wanted. He would already won 3 races by this time last year, but unfortunately, so far this year, not been able to follow that form. He's won once this year in reverse grid and had a 2nd also in the reverse grid at Zandvoort. But those races 1 and 2 have not been his friends so far this year. This could potentially be the start of gaining the momentum in his GB3 2025 campaign. And then Keanu Alazari, a driver that was on pole position, not had a particularly glittering start to the season either. He's actually only been on the podium once, and that was also in that reverse grid at Zandvoort a couple of rounds ago. Last time out he struggled, although he had a 4th place at Spa in race number 2, but he'll be looking to try and continue this rise in form. He's been quick all weekend so far, straight from when we went running on Thursday. 2 days of testing ahead of this race today here at the Hungaroring. It was Thursday testing in air temperatures that were in the mid-30s. So that was very, very physical for the drivers. A bit cooler yesterday in the mid-20s, and then a bit warmer again today, and that definitely plays a factor in how the cars drive and how the drivers have to attack the race in terms of the Pirelli tyres they're using. Sounds like we're about to have our drivers on for the podium ceremony. Is our driver from pole position, Keanu Al-Azhari. You can see him there, happy, but also potentially a little bit of disappointment there from not being able to get away from the line. He was in second place for third place for High-Tech TGR. A big high five between those two drivers as Will McIntyre did well to absorb the pressure to take second place for Elite Motorsport, and then the double fingers pointing to the sky. A very well-earned celebration for Jean-Marco Pradel, his first win in the GB3 Championship in 2025. Congratulations. That's the trophy presentation now. Trophy, third place being handed out to Keanu Al-Azhari. He's an Alpine Academy driver, sporting that Alpine-sponsored and BWT-sponsored car and race suit. Second place, Will McIntyre, adding to his collection of trophies, and he's got a fairly extensive trophy cabinet. And in GB3 as well. And then raising aloft the winning trophy, Jean-Marco Pradel, he'll be looking to have a good result tomorrow as well. He's been very fast at times, but let's now have the national anthem of Australia. Congratulations to the Aussie from Sydney, Jean-Marco Pradel, the winning driver in round 10 of the GB3 Championship in 2025. He was disappointed not to have got pole position, was there or thereabouts, so close. He will be going from a good position tomorrow as well. He was inside the top 3 in qualifying in both sessions. Now the champagne, and then once the champagne has been sprayed, we'll be showing you the highlights in a moment's time from what was a very action-packed, actually, round number 10 of the championship. Champagne spraying, drivers running away. It'll probably be quite a cooling feeling, that, with it being very, very hot both in the car and outside the circuit. Highlights of round 10 of the championship coming up now, and it was a poor start from Keanu Al-Azhari from the front of the field that dropped him immediately down behind both Jean-Marco Pradel and Will McIntyre. As Al-Azhari tried to fight back, he couldn't quite get that done. Ninovic had a look around the outside, 3 wide further back down the field. We saw the 2 Argenti by Prema cars of Seaworthen and Wampu Shui go wide. The exit turn 1. A quick excursion off the circuit by Hugo Schwarzer at turn number 4 in the first lap, and then another run through the gravel at turn number 12 would mean that his race was almost over earlier on in the race. He ended up actually not finishing the race due to further issues later on. We saw a great battle for third place. Al-Azhari trying to get back in the podium position, successfully getting past the Rodin Championship leader of Alex Ninovic down towards turn number 1 using great pace. It was Jean-Marco Pradel that was pushing on at the front of the field, managed to gap Will McIntyre enough that DRS wasn't an issue as McIntyre forced his way through the middle sector and eventually was able to hold out. But Jean-Marco Pradel was the driver that took victory in the end ahead of Will McIntyre and Keanu Al-Azhari. Those were the highlights of round 10 of the championship. It was an action-packed race. We say overtaking is difficult around this Hungaroring circuit, but the drivers in the GB3 Championship this weekend proved us wrong. Turn 1 being the main opportunity for overtaking, but also we saw some moves on the outside of turn number 2 as well. We look forward to tomorrow morning's race, where we have race 2. That will be the grid formed by the drivers' second qualifying session, a new format for 2025. The qualifying session split into 2 separate sections, which means that the driver who's fast in the first section, set the grid 4, will be on pole for race 1. We've seen that already, and the fastest driver in session 2 goes from pole in race number 2, and that was our championship leader, Alex Ninovic. So look out for him. He came 4th in this one, unfortunately not being on the podium. He's our championship leader, so that'll still see him at the front of the field as he extends his gap over second place, Patrick Hoytsenroder. And Jean-Marco Pradel will be looking to continue his good weekend so far. We saw him get away from the line well. If he can do the same again tomorrow, then who knows? We might be seeing another Aussie at the top step or him again at the top step of the podium. A lot of Aussies this season in the GB3 Championship, 4 or 5 in total. with Noah Lyle as well, and both of those Rodin drivers. But we're going to, in a moment, hand down to John Jackson.
In the garage area, and we're going to try and find some drivers. However, it's the end of the day and I feel like the drivers may have run away. Let's find out. Let's walk around. We can see cars being looked at here. Pat Hudson-Roder's car here. We're going to go... Oh, it's looking sparse. It's looking sparse, guys. Obviously, at the end of the day, if the cars have had any damage to them, they need to get that repaired as quick as they can. They want to get away, they want to get rest, because they'll be here nice and early tomorrow morning with 2 races. We will be live, local time, at 10:30 for a kick-off just after 11. So if you're in the United Kingdom, that's an hour behind. So around about 9:30 in the morning, with the race starting around about 10 a.m. UK time. Obviously, a lot of people watching around the world. You can check out the GB3 website and find out what time you can watch the race in your location. I mean, this is not looking very good in terms of drivers. You've got Abby Pulling's car here. I was saying earlier, actually, if you're looking out in the race for Abby Pulling's car, I mean, the obvious telltale signs, if you want to tell it apart from the other Rodins, is the pink highlights there. So, yeah, look out for those in our next race tomorrow morning. We've got the podium drivers coming through here. We've already spoken to them. There's no point in talking to them again. Just see if we can see anyone. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Here we got. Bring me someone. Bring me. Oh, let's go. Oh, we're going around to the tub. Oh, here we go. I don't know who it was that's in the tub. I'm going to twist myself here. So obviously it's very hot here. Let's have a look at what the temperature is on my watch. 29 degrees. Oh, here we go. Is this the worst time to talk to you on a live YouTube stream?
Not the best time, definitely.
How was that race for you?
Good. Yeah, it was good. I think good progress by the team. Changed setup for that one that seems to work out. Made up some places, looked racy. So yeah, going well.
Right, now that boring stuff's out of the way. What's this? Is this a bucket? It's like a large
plant pot.
Right, so right, okay. Are you hoping to grow into something spectacular tomorrow?
Yeah, need to grow a bit more.
And what temperature is this water? It doesn't look ice cold.
It's not ice cold, but I'm not a fan of cold water, so it's just about right for me.
Yeah, okay. It's going to be warmer tomorrow, so maybe if you stock up on some ice, go to a supermarket.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, good. Right, I've got Piers in my ears, right? He's coming to look for me now, and he's saying, "Where are you?" If Piers can hear me right now, I'm next to a man sat in a massive plant pot. But Reza, thank you very much, and good luck tomorrow. Where are you starting on the grid? I should know this.
I think 10th for the first one and 2nd for the last one.
There's points there. I'm sensing points.
Yeah, 100%.
Excellent stuff. Okay, well, hopefully someone's got a towel for you. I mean, could we get you it? No, maybe, but that's a stupid idea, right? Thanks for entertaining me being stupid, everyone. We're going to move away from Reza Seaworthen because he's obviously having his magic moment there in his plant pot. Let's see if we can meet back up with Piers Pryor. He's going to love when I tell him about this. Here he is. Oh. He's gone. He's obviously seen the plant pot. He's been told where the plant pot is and he's gone round. So we're going to actually have to turn around here, Shane, and we have to walk back and find Piers next to the plant pot. There he is. What's he doing? Right, okay. I think Piers is coming on my microphone here. I don't think he's got a microphone. I think that's why he's looking so worried. I don't know what he's doing. Yeah, I don't know where he is. Let's leave Piers. No one wants to hear from Piers anyway. We'll hear from Piers more tomorrow morning from 10:30 local time, 9:30 in the United Kingdom. Trying to find more cars. We've got a pretty badly damaged car coming in here, actually. If we just stand over to the left here, Shane, we can watch this Elite Motorsports car coming back in. Of Flynn Jacks there, of course. We saw that one getting beached. That was the one with the... what do you call it? The... fire extinguisher coming off. I'm glad Piers is here now. Piers, that's not something that normally happens, is it?
No, it's quite rare to be honest. But it's unfortunately as soon as the fire extinguisher goes off, of course, that is one of the safety features. So when that goes off, you have to stop because if there was a fire, then you're no longer safe. Disappointing for the team, especially considering that it was going all right. It's been quick this weekend.
Do you think you could go in there and find Flynn, see if he's around?
Yeah, I'll go see him.
You did miss Reza just sat in a large plant pot full of water, but I'm sure you can watch it back. Everyone else enjoyed it there. So let's watch the car being taken off now. Obviously, these cars are designed to be taken out of any situation where they're stuck on track or stuck in the gravel, as Flynn's car was. And part of this new design of this new GB3 car is that you've got the hoop there that you can get the crane through to take it off very easily. Looking at the damage on the car, I don't think there's any damage to the car because obviously he just went across the grass a little bit into the gravel. The damage is going to be just to the fire extinguisher that they're going to need to replace there. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people keen to know why that happened. And obviously safety is paramount, so that will be looked at almost immediately. I'm going to get Piers' take on the tyres, I think. See if he's ruined those tyres. Piers, we're just looking at the tyres there. The car looks okay other than the fire extinguisher. Do you think the tyres have had it though?
I mean, I think, to be honest, these tyres, they won't have actually had a huge amount of work, even though they look like they've got a lot of rubbish on, with the grass and the gravel. They'll actually have less use than a lot of the drivers around. 2 full sets of tyres for the drivers here in the GB3 Championship. They'll use one set normally, brand new set for qualifying 1, and the second new set for qualifying 2, because they're fastest when they're brand new. And then they have to figure out which of the tyres they've got to use for race 3. So we might actually see Flynn use these tyres again. Who knows?
You have to pick the stones out of them as you go along. I don't think we're going to find any more drivers. The drivers have been hiding somewhere. Yeah. But just to sum up that race there, it was kind of tough there, Flynn. Tough to overtake. I mean, drivers are going to have learned a lot from that race in terms of tomorrow when they're trying to overtake it and learning where it's going to be possible. All the drivers there on the podium said it's kind of turn 1 and that's where you need to make your move.
Yeah, turn 1 is the main place. It's the biggest straight, I think it's 908 metres down towards turn 1 with the DRS. The middle sector is so technical. You're basically just trying to set yourself up for a good exit out of the last corner.
Yeah, and of course it's totally resurfaced as part of the work we mentioned at the start of the show with all the new infrastructure here, which we'll touch on a bit more tomorrow. Do you want to go and see if Flynn will come over and we can have a quick in fact, we'll come to you. Just find out what happened. Can you just describe what happened out there? Just obviously Piers kind of described from the commentary books, but from your perspective.
So I was going down, I think it happened around first corner, so I finished straight, and I felt a big heavy mass hit my left forearm, and it's the media box in there. And as I went throughout the lap, it's kind of rattling about, and I went through the fast left-hander 4, went around 5, and on the exit of 5, as I brake, weight moves to the front, box goes forward, hits the extinguisher button.
Right, so it was kind of that being loose then, and the media box, I guess, is the thing that kind of does all the cameras on there and saves all the footage.
Yeah.
That's terrible bad luck for you, but I mean the car looks all right other than that. I know they've just been checking it over there.
Yeah, I mean this weekend I've found some quite good pace, so hopefully I can just keep building on that because yeah.
Well, fingers crossed they'll get that secured and you won't have a repeat of that because it's quite a quirky one.
Yeah, I inhaled all of it. It scared me so much.
But you're okay, right?
Yeah, I'm all good.
Okay, a scary one, but you're all good. We will see you soon, and better luck tomorrow. There we go, Flynn Jacks with Elite Motorsport. Not something you want to happen there, Piers. Kind of a rare one. I don't know if you heard that, but the media box hitting the fire extinguisher is a new one on me.
Oh, wow, that is rare. But anyways, I'm actually surprised at how much overtaking there was in that race, if I'm honest, because it was sometimes we hear that this track's difficult to overtake at, but it was actually quite an entertaining race, I thought.
Well, look, we've got 2 more races coming up tomorrow. Of course, we have 3 races every GB3 weekend, 2 races that are set by qualifying, and then we have the reverse grid race as well on a Sunday. So as I've said already, local time tomorrow, our broadcast will start around about 10:30 with the race getting started just after 11. It's an hour before if you're watching in the UK, and of course if you're watching anywhere else, we've got drivers from all around the world, as many as 13 different countries in the GB3 Championship this year. You can find out where you can watch that race that time, and of course the second race later on in the day as well. Looks like we'll be starting around about 5 p.m. for that one in local time in Hungary, so 4 p.m. in the United Kingdom. And obviously reverse grid race, Piers, just briefly explain what that is.
Top 12 in qualifying, fastest laps gets reversed, which means that those drivers who are quicker have to work their way through the field, and it always makes for a good entertaining race.
It does, and you get points for every place you make up, and that's what we like to see. We like to see overtaking, and I have a feeling we're going to see a bit more tomorrow. So we'll catch you then 10:30 local time, 9:30 in the UK for the second round this weekend, round 11 of the 2025 GB3 Championship.